Welcome, Annie here. Today we're going to create this hello card using some products from Brutus Monroe. Today we'll be using the Emma layering stencil. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 stencil. And again, this is called the Emma. And there's a variety of these. I think we have a total of 4 or 5 of them out right now. All right, so let me go over the stencil real quick. See this little square here? As long as you match up your little square, your stencil will layer perfectly. Now mine's a little sticky because I put a little pixie spray on it. Yours won't be. So again, you layer your stencil. That's the bottom half was the leaves, the top part was the floral. And here you just line that little square up and everything will match perfectly. So I won't color my little square in because I won't be needing it today. I'm also going to be bringing in the breakfast buddies. We're going to use just the sentiment, the hello sentiment, which I've die cut and adhered together off screen. I used the Raven cardstock for the word and then the halo or the background with some of our vellum. To color in our stencil, we're going to be using Chroma mist. I have a Noble Fur and 2 of the new pastel Chroma mist. This one is Marigold, and these are a little more opaque, so you got to make sure you shake them really well because everything will settle on the bottom, the pigments and such. And this color here, this is Ladybug, and this one is again Marigold. So just make sure you give them a good shake so that everything blends in nicely. And we're going to bring in our pigment palette. This is for the aqua pigments on one side, and the other side is just like blank. So you can put anything you need on there. I'm going to use some little sponges from my stash to color in our stencil. I have some Raven cardstock here, measuring 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and some Canson watercolor cardstock from my stash, and it has been trimmed just about 1/4 of an inch smaller than the Raven. All right, I'm going to create my card front panel on screen, and then I'll adhere it to my card base off screen. I just wanted to let you know that. And also that we do have watercolor for the aqua pigments. It's a little bit thinner and I wanted something thicker. That's why I pulled in the Canson watercolor. So I'm going to be using the stick and stamp mat to hold my panel down. Again, I trimmed it smaller than my layering cardstock. But it's not layering, it's Raven cardstock, so it's pretty heavy. But it's smaller, so I have that nice little edge all the way around. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my first layer, which are the petals of our flowers here. And I'm going to lay that on top. I'm going to use the other one just to make sure I have enough space for my leaves to show up here, since I did trim my panel down. So I'm going to start with the Ladybug. And I want that towards the center, so to speak, of our flowers, since it's darker. And then I'm going to sponge it out and then put the Marigold into it so it goes from darkest to lightest. So I'm just using a few little sponges. These are just blending sponges. I just cut some up, so I cut one up so I had 3 sections to use for my 3 colors. And I'm just pouncing it down, up and down. If you have those mushroom pouncers things, you could use that, finger daubers, whichever. Just we're looking for that pouncing. We're not stroking like brush strokes or anything, because that can, even though I have pixie spray on my stencil, can go underneath the stencil. So now we're moving on to the Marigold, and we're going to pounce up and down motion, and I'm going to do a nice light layer first, and I can always come back in. I first just lay the Marigold in, and then I will put the Marigold over the Ladybug color just to kind of blend them. So think of like when you do your ink blending, it's going to be the same thing, but instead of circular motions, we're just going up and down. So you see how I go over using the Marigold over the Ladybug. That tones down the Ladybug a little bit, and it helps blend the 2 colors. Because I do pick up a little bit of the Ladybug, and that's what we want, because we want them to blend in together. But not omit the color, just blend them. All right, so I'm almost done with our petals. I'm going to remove this stencil. As you can see, now you have that crisp. That's how it stays nice and crisp. I'm going to get the leaves, and I'm going to just get them in here nicely. Again, if you have a bigger panel, you would line up. That's what I'm trying to say. You would line up your little square. I have the smaller than the actual stencil panel. So I'm just gonna eyeball this situation here. So now I'm gonna go ahead with the Noble Fur, and I'm gonna put a nice layer first, just like I did with the Marigold, and then I'll go back in and put a second layer. The pastel colors, the new Chroma Mist pastel colors, they have a green. I do not have it yet, but they're a little bit thicker in consistency than our normal Chroma glaze, just so you know, because they're like more of a opaque rather than translucent as most Chroma glaze. Did I say Chroma glaze? I mean Chroma Mist. Than our Chroma Mist. So that's why I went ahead and put another layer of the Noble Fur through. So again, doing that nice pouncing. Plus the pouncing gives it nice texture because it takes the texture of the sponge. You'll see. I mean, the Canson watercolor has texture, but this gives it even more texture. All right, so I'm just going to pop my panel off. And all I did was bend the stick and stamp mat. And there's some warping, but not a lot because, like I said, we just did a light layer. It's not like we sprayed the panel. And it blended so nicely. I loved how it looks. So now we're going to go ahead and find my Raven cardstock. And I'm going to adhere this using some Barely Art liquid glue. So we're going to adhere our two panels together. And then I will adhere our sentiment. So I'm going a little generous with my glue here because this is has warped it just a bit and I wanted it to lay flat. So I'm going to press it down just a smidgen here, give it some time to adhere. And I'm going to put my sentiment in the center. So I'm just going to put a little dabs of glue on the back because I don't want it to overflow and show through the vellum. And then I'll place that in the center between the two florals. There, make sure it's straight. And then I'm going to put an acrylic block on it just to hold it, give it a second to take. And what I'm looking for are my black gems. I'm going to put little black tiny gems since our sentiment is black, and then we have that black perimeter all the way around bringing your focal point to all those light colors. So I'm going to just put 3 little gems, one tiny one near the hello, one a little medium size, and then a bigger one towards the top, giving you that nice triangle so that it hits your eye moves across the entire panel. And even though these are sticky gems, I still put a little bit of liquid adhesive just to be on the safe side. So our card front is done, and like I said, I will adhere this to my card base off screen. So these are the products we used. Once again, just a quick reminder, and I'll have these all linked for you. We used the Breakfast Buddies just for the sentiment, the hello, the Emma layering stencils, Chroma Mist in Marigold, Ladybug, and Noble Fur. Again, I'll have all of it linked for you straight to the store in the description box. Thank you for being here, and I found some inspiration.